Good afternoon and welcome to Paul T Reviews. And in this video, I'm going to take a close look, an in-depth look at this new camera. It's the Campark TC21. It's quite radical really, both in its design and what it's trying to do. And I'm really looking forward to getting it out in the garden, seeing the quality of the stills and the video, and also how practical it is out in the field. So in this video, I'm going to do an unboxing because I think it's important to know exactly what comes in the box. I'm going to set up the camera so you can see exactly the settings to use, the settings I use and recommend. I'm going to take it out in the garden and do an audio test, and then we're going to look at the quality of the stills and the video. I'll test it at 4K, 2K and 1080p and see which I think is the best and the most practical. So let's have a look at what's in the box. Just a quick interjection before we get into the video proper. It's quite a long video. I've tried to include as much as possible to give you a good idea on what this camera is like. And then at the end of the video, of course, I'll be giving my conclusion. But as it's a long video, I've made chapters so you can skip the parts that maybe aren't of interest to you, particularly if you're an experienced photographer. But don't miss the chapter on audio, because the audio on this camera is something else. I am so excited about this audio. I have waited a long time. I've gone through a lot of trail cameras to get audio like this. Campark have sent me this trail camera to give an independent review. I haven't been paid any money to do this video, but I do get to keep the camera. Back to the review. The TC21 Ultra Covert Hunting Camera. First of all, we can see the covert bit. We've got some frequently asked questions here and answers. Yeah, it's very flat, isn't it? So we've got the lens here, the sensor here, and the LEDs here. The LEDs are 940 nanometers, which means they're no glow. There's no opening on this camera, so it should be nice and waterproof. And in fact, it's an IP66 camera. It's only got an integrated battery because it also has a solar panel. It's quite a large solar panel, isn't it? And we'll be having a closer look at this solar panel in a minute. We've got screws and a roll plug if we want to attach it to a post. Two straps, one for the camera and one for the solar panel, and a USB-C cable. That's both for charging and for transferring photographs. We've got a manual here, quite nice. It's been sent to me in England and it's purely in English. We'll have a read of that later, and in actual fact you won't need to read this manual because this video will cover everything that's in the manual. Let's have a closer look at these items. The camera itself is really thin. That gives a really good feel of putting it up against a tree. Here is the 1/4-20 tripod socket. It's at the back and at the top. Now, I use tripods a lot, so that's going to be interesting as to how well that works with my tripods. It's powered with this solar panel. Now, the internal batteries are in the camera itself, so you can charge up these internal batteries here. And we have the USB cable here. There's the slot for the memory card. No memory card is included. And indeed, there's nowhere to put AA batteries. This is purely internal batteries that are charged up with the solar panel out in the field or with the cable and electricity in the house. It's got quite a long lead at the back. Yep, so the lead is 40 inches, that's 101 centimeters. Because obviously, if one has a nice covert camera, you don't want to have a great big solar panel next to it, otherwise it's no longer covert. Once the solar panel is attached to the tree, then it can be articulated quite well. However, obviously it will be this way up, wouldn't it? So there we are, that's against the tree. And then we can move it up like that and round like that. And then this part goes in there. There we are. Of course, once you put the memory card in, we want to seal this off. Then the camouflage part just clicks over like this. To be rather careful taking this off, and in actual fact, I think it would be a good idea to use tweezers. I'm going to select a micro SD card. So this one is ideal. It's a SanDisk Extreme Plus. It's 64 gigabyte and it's a class 10. You need to have a number 3 inside that U that's on the memory card. That means it can read and write speeds fast enough to record 4K. It doesn't have to be an Extreme Plus. 64 gigabyte I find is well sufficient for me because I tend to bring the cameras in on a regular basis. The first thing we want to do is put in a memory card. So I've got my SanDisk card here. See which way up it goes. There we are, that's the wrong way. Now luckily with these micro SD cards, you can only put them in one way. So if when you first start it doesn't go in easily, just turn it over and gently push it in. There we are. Pop it in with your nail with a little click. I can both put it in with a click and take it out, and there's just enough room here for my fingers to just pull it out. That's quite handy because some trail cameras you can't get your fingers in to pull it out. I'll push this just to the middle and that should, there we are. It's got memory card error. Now that's because you should always format your card in the camera itself. And in fact, quite handily, it then asks you to. Now let's have a look at these buttons. Here we've got an up and down, left and right. So let's, yep, there we are. That brings it down. So now we need OK. There we are. We've got an OK. So I'll press that. And there we are. Right, we can see ourselves here. And this probably is the mode that we want, and it is. Start off with the mode. You can shoot photos only, video only, or photos and video. If you choose photo and video, it will first shoot a photo and then a video. And that's what I'm going to do. PIR interval. I want the interval to be as little as possible. When an animal is passing by or in front of the camera, once the camera stops recording a video, I want it to start again as soon as possible. I'm going to take it right down and see. Yes, that's what I thought. The maximum is probably 99 minutes and 59 seconds. I want the minimum, which is 5 seconds. I always choose PIR sensitivity to high. We've got a time-lapse feature. We'll just have a little look at that. If I put the time-lapse feature on, this then is the timing interval. So this is the interval between photographs being taken. Set the mode to photo only. Loop recording, when the memory card is full, the camera will then overwrite the first files. I want that off. I don't want any files overwritten at any time. If you had a situation such as a dash cam in a car, not that you'd use this for a dash cam, that's when you'd want loop recording. IR LED. So this is the power of the LEDs. I always put it on auto to begin with, but generally speaking, if the animals are large and going to be close to the camera, you probably want low, maybe medium. I'll try auto and see how I go. If it's not overexposing the animals, I'll leave it on auto. So no shutting means that if the battery is low and it cannot fire the LEDs, then it won't fire at all. The monitoring period, this can be useful, and I'm using it at the moment actually. Let's just set it to on. There we are. Once you set it to on, as you can see here, we've got a timer, start and stop. So I want the camera to start operating at 9 o'clock at night. I want it to finish operating in the morning at 7 o'clock. You can actually set two different times during the day. Just one will do for me. Frequency, you have a choice of 50 Hertz and 60 Hertz. 60 Hertz will be the Americas and 50 Hertz the rest of the world. I'm in the rest of the world, so it's 50. And that set up the first part of the camera. So if I now go to the right, we've got image size. Now this is interesting. This is the stills. So let's just see what we've got. It's got up to 46 megapixels. Down to 2 megapixels. Now 40 megapixels almost certainly is interpolated. So I am going to shoot these stills at 12 megapixels. It's probably a 12 megapixel sensor. So I'll test different sizes and see which is best. So picture number, you can shoot up to, I think it's going to be 10. Yes, it's 10. I'm just going to shoot one picture and a video each time. The shutter speed, choose the maximum, and indeed it's only 30, a 30th of a second, so that's what we're going to do. That's the photographs sorted out. We'll go to the right and let's have a look at the video. We've got 4K, 2K, 1296p and 1080p, all at 30 frames per second, which is actually quite handy because I shoot all my videos at 30 frames per second. I'm going to choose 2K for the moment and see how I do, but I'll do tests on these others. The video length, this is important. It's different for everyone. Let's see what the minimum is. Okay, right, there we are. The minimum is a 5-second video and the maximum is 180 seconds. In actual fact, I find that 30 and 40 seconds is the sweet spot for me. If you have the video length too short, you'll end up with a staccato, broken series of events. I want to video the animal as long as possible when it's in front of the camera. But I don't choose 180 seconds because often it's just passing by the camera and I don't want very long videos with only a few seconds of action. But I find 40 does me. And record audio, obviously we want audio on. So that is the video mode set. Now let's see what we've got for the other settings. We've got English. Let's see what other languages we've got. French, German, Danish, Hungarian, Slovenian, Dutch, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, Czech, is that Czech? Polish, and Japanese and Chinese. Oh, and Slovak. Default setting, obviously, if you get in a bit of a mess with all these things, go back to the factory settings and start again. This is where you'll format your card when you want. I don't format the card in the computer at all. I only format the card in the camera that uses it. Date and time, and the time format. You can choose between 12-hour and 24-hour. Date stamp on. The date stamp is the banner at the bottom of the video or picture that tells you exactly what time the video was taken. And also sometimes it tells us the temperature and a few other things, which we'll discover when I shoot some videos. I like that on because I find it really interesting to know when the animals came in the garden and when they left. Beep sound. I think we've had probably enough of the beep sound. Probably uses battery. Camera name, let's just see what it's got. Okay, it's got the TC21, that's fine. I use a lot of cameras, and so I want on the banner the name of the camera. Auto Wi-Fi off, so when the Wi-Fi is on, it will automatically go off if you haven't used it for 2 minutes, and the power will go off if you haven't used it for 3 minutes. I find that about right, but you can of course change it to shorter or longer. And the same with the backlight of 1 minute. Now it might be worth just mentioning right now that this Wi-Fi, it's not the internet. The Wi-Fi is the camera's Wi-Fi, so you can connect your smartphone to the camera. I find that really useful, and we'll have a look at that when we're out in the field. There's the version, so if Campark actually do update the firmware, you'll be able to tell whether you have the latest firmware. We have now set up the camera, and if you push it right over to the right, this primes it for taking pictures and videos. There's the countdown. You've got 5 seconds, and now it's primed. So on the screen here, which is quite a nice big screen actually, we've got the date here, which I haven't set yet, and the time, which I will set. We've got the size of pictures that I'm going to take. I've already charged the battery up, which is a good idea. Fully charge the battery up first, using electricity, not the solar power. Get it fully charged. And there, it switched itself off after the 2 minutes that I think is set in the settings. And now we're ready to take it outside and see how it does. Now I think I'm actually recording, so I can see through the app what the camera is seeing, and this is the audio test. So I've switched on the camera manually, and we're going to see what the audio is like. All this audio is from the camera. So I'm standing 3 paces away. There's a car passing by, but I can hear okay. The snapping of twigs, and I've got some dry leaves here. So let's see how well that has come out. I've still got the app showing that it's recording me right now, so that is quite good. I use the app quite well. I'm not speaking in a loud voice, I'm just speaking normally in a quiet voice. I'm now 1 pace away, and let's see how well this audio has come out. I'll now switch it off with the app. There we are, so the app is now switched off, the camera is now switched off, and we'll go back in the studio and let's see how good that audio was. This is a test of how close the camera, the TC21, will focus. Now I know for most people this isn't important at all because you're videoing deer 20 yards away, but a lot of my wildlife in the garden are in actual fact very close. So I'm going to do a little test here to see just how close this camera focuses. So it'll be from that distance to infinity that is sharp. So this is at 150 centimeters. This is 59 inches. 50 inches, that's 127 centimeters. 40 inches. 102 centimeters, 3 feet, 36 inches, 91 centimeters, 30 inches, 76 centimeters, 2 feet, 61 centimeters, 20 inches, 51 centimeters, 16 inches, 41 centimeters, 13 inches, 33 centimeters. I want it as close as possible because of the hedgehogs that I can get very close to, and it's always very satisfying to take close-up pictures of our wildlife. 12, 20 and 46 megapixels, because obviously there's no point in taking 46 megapixel pictures if 20 megapixel is just as good, or indeed 12 megapixels, and the same with the video resolution. I'm now going to do a test of the 4K, 2K and 1080p. I'll see what the bit rate is like and what the quality is like. And let's see where the sweet spot is. Is it 4K? Is it 2K? And indeed, will 1080p hold its own? Because it does do on some of the other 4K cameras. Let's have a look at the buttons and reviewing the pictures and photographs that you've taken. The little slider here, you click it twice actually, 1, 2. It's very small. What we're doing is putting it into the middle. So we're now in review mode. If you want to review pictures, this is the button here. Now I do like these buttons. I like the form factor of this camera. It's excellent for just reviewing the pictures. I really like it actually. So simple and easy. Big buttons. Here's reviewing the pictures. If I want to play this video, I can just press OK and it starts. There are some quite good speakers here, and so it plays back the audio really well. We can stop it at any time by pressing OK, and we've stopped it at 21 seconds. If we press the top left, it goes to the end of the video, so you don't have to watch the whole video to get to the end. And if you want to delete it, you press the top left button and we can delete it. Obviously, OK, delete current, OK. And there we are, we've deleted that. Let's have a look at some further ones. Now then, we've got a fox here. I want to review this by pressing OK. And now if I want to go faster, review at a faster pace, I can press this button here once. And as you can see in the bottom left, it's going at twice speed. Press it again, times 4 speed. Press it again, times 8 speed. And not only that, let's play it again. So I can go at 2 speed, 4 speed. If I press the left arrow, I can go back to 2 speed, back to 1 speed. And in fact, I can play it backwards. So you have full control of playing this video forwards and backwards at any speed you like. This is a fantastic facility for quickly reviewing your videos. This was my setup last night, a bendy tripod with the camera low to the ground. I only use the covert mask when mounting to a tree. Nice, clear photo, sharp across the frame with good colours. I've placed the water just a little too close to the camera for it to be properly sharp. I think this was about 20 inches away, so maybe the minimum focusing distance is about 2 feet, 24 inches. The lighting is good. There's a nice overall lighting with no hot spots. Only overexposure is when the hedgehog is inches from the camera. The sound of the birds in the garden is recorded clearly. I've increased the volume of the fox eating by 10 decibels, just so that you can really hear it enjoying these cat biscuits. Download and select the Wildlife Camera app. Tap on the deer icon. The camera is now connecting to the Bluetooth on the phone. Tap on Join. It is now connecting the camera's Wi-Fi to the phone. Once connected, you get a live view of the screen. Tap the cogwheel to pull up the settings, which can then be changed if required. The video camera is in red, so if you tap the round circle, it takes a video. Tap it again and it stops recording the video. Tap on the still camera icon and then the circle and it takes a picture. Select the mountain range icon to access the picture and video album. Tap Exit to close the app. Here are my thoughts on the Campark TC21. It has some great features that I really like, but also some quirks that I'm not quite so keen on. But overall, I wouldn't want to be without this camera. As I have already mentioned, the audio is the best I have heard, and I find it quite exciting to be able to hear those small sounds. It records this audio clearly and without any noise interference, which does plague some of the other manufacturers' high-end cameras. The covert mask is a novel idea and indeed could be useful, particularly if you had a number of different colours, so they could match different trees that you use, if you use specific trees. It's easy and secure to put on, but it does mean it's difficult or impossible to use a Python cable. Its strength is in not being seen rather than resisting in someone trying to steal it. And that's where the no glow comes in, because if you are wanting to use this for security, it's much less likely to be seen by a human, as there is no red glow at all. As I use the camera mostly in the garden on a tripod, I don't bother with the mask. I'm particularly keen on the quality of imagery, and this camera is very good, particularly the daytime pictures, which I find sharp. The colours are natural, the colour balance is natural, and it's sharp corner to corner. The night videos and pictures are average. It's probably because of the 950 nanometer no-glow LEDs. They are never as good quality as the glow LEDs. However, they expose the night pictures very well and, more importantly, evenly. There are no hot spots in the center of the image. However, the overall image is a little dark, like most cameras actually, but that can easily be fixed in post-production if you would prefer a brighter and more contrasty image. The lens is a nice wide 120 degrees. I like that width of lens. By the way, as I mentioned earlier in the video, in doing these quality tests, I've decided to shoot at 12 megapixels on the stills and 2K on the videos, partly because the bitrate is so much higher on 2K than 1080p and 4K. I've put a link down in the description below to the camera if you'd like to find out more or indeed make a purchase. The current price is £134 in the UK, 154 euros in Europe, and 169 US dollars. I hope you found my video useful to you. If you did, please give it a like. Leave any comments you wish down below. I always reply to them, and I'll see you next time. Bye.